Then can you get it on the you?
I can
TV?
send links. I can send links to people who want to view the Zoom.
Is there a way to get the Zoom on the YouTube after?
I don't know. Ask Hannah. If it can be done, she can do it. I would think you can post videos, so you should be able to do it. We are recording now.
I show 6 o'clock. So if you could, I'll call the meeting to order. And if you could, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
All right, I gotta find the flag. Hold on. Can you see the flag?
Yep.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Adjustments to the agenda. I think we've got one or two.
I have one.
Go ahead, John.
I'd like to add the land for Maine future. Well, it's not really a grant application at this point, but inquiry form for a grant, a possible grant to help reimburse some of the costs of the recent land purchase. And I thought I had another one, but I can't remember what it was.
Harry, you had something, didn't you?
I did the consumer net energy billing agreement application for that's part of the Sundog application to get our kilowatts credited to CMP.
Okay, CMP billing agreement.
Yep.
So Jeff,
There's something else, but I think Terry already put it in there.
I think it might have been the grant for the fire department. We lose Jeff?
Yep.
Terry, was the grant for EMS on there too, on my sheet? We talked about it last month, the 37 million to apply for.
Oh, no, I didn't. I didn't bring that forward. We can add that though.
Okay. It ends up being like 46,000 for South Thomaston.
Okay. What's the name of the grant, Amy?
It's an EMS grant for the state of Maine for stabilization grant.
Well, I hope we haven't lost Jeff because we don't have a meeting. Because Sue's out sick with the flu.
I can try to email him.
I'll try to call him.
Okay.
Well, having trouble.
Huh.
I got it. My phone wouldn't load. Is it windy up there?
No, it's sort of stopped, actually.
I was thinking maybe he lost.
Terry is trying to join
Oh, you
again.
got him? Okay, I'm gonna hang up then.
Sandra, are you
Looks
okay? I think you need another cup of that coffee.
I know, but then I'll never sleep again.
Well, we lost you.
Yeah, my
No,
computer died. I
yeah,
had
I
to change
couldn't make this.
computers.
No, we
Yeah, I
lost
couldn't
Jeff.
make the Zoom work. Ah,
We lost Jeff. We had him. We started the meeting and then he
Oh.
disappeared.
Oh.
Yeah, I spent some time with the computer that went out, thinking that it was on your end, and then realized quickly that it was my computer. Okay, so where are we at? We just added land grant and the CMP billing agreement.
And the EMS stabilization grant.
Okay.
Wasn't the billing agreement already on the agenda?
No, this is something I just got today and I sent it out to you guys.
Oh, I
And I
haven't
said,
seen it.
I said, if you want to look at it, we can look at it tonight. If not, we can put it off till the next meeting.
So is this related to item 5B?
No, this is to do with Sundog Solar. It's part of our.
Okay. Yeah, yes,
It's
yes,
just
okay. I
it's
did
just
have that. All right, sorry.
Another step to move forward with them.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to, unless we've got any other adjustments.
Well, Jeff, I think I have something else, but I can't think of it. So if I do think of it, I'd like to be able to bring it up when I do think of it.
Okay, you got it. So, approval of the prior meeting minutes. We've got one from December 11th and one from December 12th.
Were you at both those meetings, Jeff? I can't recall.
I was at the 12th, the one on the 12th, but not the one on the 11th.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve to table the meeting minutes from December 11th, because we don't have two people that can vote on it.
What? I
Well,
don't
I
mind
guess you could.
voting on it.
All right. All right, I'll make a motion.
I've reviewed it and so I have no objection to me voting in favor of.
Okay, I'll move, we approve the minutes of December 11th and December 12th.
And I'll second that. Any discussion, additions, corrections? All those in favor, John?
Aye.
Jeff, aye. 2-0. And December 12th?
I did the 11th and the 12th. in
Oh,
my
you
motion.
did, okay.
Yeah.
Good for me. Update on the building use form. I think we're 99% there, John, if you wanna. There was only one thing that I had a question on, and that was in the previous one, we had specifically mentioned political for doing if political parties are using the facility.
For
allowing-
caucuses.
Yeah, for caucuses.
Yeah, if I took that out, it was inadvertent. I'll double check that. Is that what you're saying? It's missing?
Yes,
or-
yeah. I thought it was specifically spelled out in the previous one. I couldn't
It
find
was.
in this one.
It was. I'll check that. And Terry, I need you to check insurance. I never know what those limits are supposed to be.
Okay.
But the big thing, Jeff, that I found was in the MMA legal stuff that we got from, and I don't know if you saw that we got from Terry passed out to us. It said that it would be illegal to allow a for-profit business to use our facility without charging a fee, because that would be a,
Oh.
providing them, it violates the public purpose clause, like plowing a
Right.
private road.
Right. Yeah.
So I put that back in. I mean, I suppose we could ignore it if we want to until someone complains about it, but I think we should put it in and so if we do leave it in, we need to have a fee amount, and I'm certainly willing to make it a nominal fee. I mean, we don't have a lot of extraordinary costs down there. But and Penny's, I noticed Penny's not here, and I really was interested in her comments because I think this really affects Guilford Butler more than it does the town office.
Yeah.
So I'd like to maybe get that insurance information. Maybe we can talk a little bit about a fee tonight, but personally, I'd like to get Penny's feedback because she's the one who's got to basically deal with this, so to speak.
Right.
And I haven't heard from her. So I'd make a motion to table it.
Okay, I would second that. Let's put it on our very next one though, because I'd kind of like to get this.
Me too. Me too. And as I said, I do feel that that's an area where we have some potential liability. If we don't manage it properly.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, so. Okay, so I'll move to table it,
I'll second
and I'll
that.
try to get a hold of Penny directly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All those in favor? John,
John,
aye.
aye.
Jeff, aye.
Aye.
Okay, update on the ambulance billing and consider signing a service agreement with First Financial Resources. Who wants to talk about this, Amy or Terry? Or is it Terry's?
I did follow up. We talked about the last meeting about sending the people who aren't paying to collections after we sent, I think it was 4 letters. I called around to different towns to see who they use for a collection agency. Waldoboro is pretty much the only one that really sends theirs to collection, and they use First Financial Resources, who is affiliated with Comstar, because Waldoboro uses Comstar. They keep 33 1/3% of what they collect. If they collect nothing, they receive nothing. They sent me a form that needs to be signed. If you want to go forward with the collections, one of you can come in and sign it, or you could authorize me to sign it and we could get moving on that.
I have one question. Well, I actually have a global question. Do we even want to do this? But before we get to that, I thought I read in here somewhere that that we as a town could withdraw the fee. I mean, withdraw the collection authorization with no charge. Because in some ways, what I really would like to do is I would like to get people to fill out a waiver form. I think we've made an avenue for a lot of people, if they can't afford it, to simply get a waiver. But when we send letters out and they simply just ignore us, that's what bothers me. And if that's the case, I feel a lot better about going into this agreement, because if finally it gets someone's attention and they say, oh, maybe I better fill out that waiver. But now I can't seem to find that.
We could still do the 4 letters that I've sent previously. The first 3 saying, oh yeah, remember you owe this, and the 4th one saying this is your final option with sending it to collections. And we can do that before we send it to them.
But we already did that, right?
Right, but we got more coming back up through.
Right, but we only got one person who responded.
Right. I thought you were kind of leaning against not doing it, not sending them to collection.
Well, if we can, like I said, though, if we can indeed, if they do come in and fill out the waiver form after we send it to, and they're approved, of course,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I feel a lot better about entering into this agreement, but I don't want to get hit with a charge and have to have the town then be responsible for it. But I think I found it. It says in 4 term of agreement, it says client reserves the right to withdraw any and all accounts, the client is us, that have been assigned for collection at no fee to client at any time. So I guess I would just like personally, that makes me much more comfortable in moving ahead with this, but I would like to, I guess I'd like to kind of verify that with them that if we send this to collections and then finally someone says, oh, I guess I better fill out that form and does, and again, if it's approved, does that allow us to kind of pull that back from the collections and without any charge to us? That's what it appears to me, what it says, but.
Yeah, I think.
Am I making any sense?
Yes, yes. I think the exception though is if they come in and pay us, once we've sent it to collections, we will still owe the 1/3 to the collection agency.
Yeah, that was clear to me. That was clear to me.
Is this open for discussion at all? This is Brian.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess I have some problems with the collections that I'd like to voice or doing this procedure. And I'd ask Terry, what is the largest account we have for one person? What's the largest amount owed?
$1,500.
But for the majority, people owe like what the remaining of their insurance can pay, which is about $100 to $200.
No, those people pay. It's the people that don't pay anything that are still outstanding. The people that owe just a little bit from their insurance company are the ones that come forward and say, yes, I'll pay.
Okay, I guess I was
Typically.
Not everyone.
No,
Yeah.
not everyone, but typically it's the people that don't have insurance and that just ignore it. And Ryan, I understand what you're saying, but we also send a hardship form. All I have to do is sign it and say, this is what I make, I can't afford it. And we're not, and then that would be that, but they don't even reply at all. It's just like ignored.
Yeah, I know, like you said, Waldeboro is the only department around that sends their bills to collections, and they also do transfers. They're in a money-making business. Not we aren't, but I guess that's all I have to add.
Yeah, and just so you know, we've been probably batting this around for 15 years. It's not so much about the money, it's about the process. It is not fair to some people who respond and pay, and then other people who just treat it like I don't even have to worry about it, and I'm not going to even respond. And what this is a last ditch effort to try to get people to just respond.
Yeah, Jeff, you hit the nail on the head for me. I mean, a lot of people over the years have come in and made arrangements to give $5 a week, and they really, whatever, maybe not 5, and have paid. And then other people just blow us off, like, oh, if I ignore it long enough, it'll just go away. And that to me is a matter of fairness.
Right.
And I'm particularly willing to go ahead and do this if what I just talked about earlier is true, that we actually, if they do fill out the form, not pay us, but do fill out the form and are approved, then we can withdraw it with nothing owed. So I'd make a motion to approve this contingent upon Terry confirming that. And again, understand that we're going to send out at least 4 letters.
Yep.
With the final letter saying, here's the form again. If you don't fill this out, we're going to send it to collections. That doesn't need to be in the motion, but.
Yeah, I'll second that. Any further discussion?
I guess if that's not the case, Terry, then we can put this back on the agenda. But I'd like to make a friendly amendment to my motion to authorize Terry to sign it.
I agree. Anybody else got anything? All those in favor? John,
John, I.
Jeff, I. We want to go ahead and do the stabilization package.
Couldn't we do the new hires so they can leave?
Yeah, that's good.
Although
So-
I only see one. Oh, I guess it's two.
Yeah, I think. So, Chief Elwell, you got a new hire?
Yep, I have two new hires. One is Gavin Burgess and one is Cheyenne Grierson. They're both on. Can go ahead and have Cheyenne first. You know, just let you guys know why she wants to join and that stuff, and then we'll go to
Sure,
Gavin.
yeah. Yeah, sure. No, I decided that I wanted to do something to help and give back with the community. And I work in the hospital, so I see the need for first responders and stuff like that. So I decided to join the fire department, and I'm really excited about it.
Have you been working with them yet?
Not really. I did truck checks last week, which was pretty cool.
Good.
Well, I know Cheyenne's grandfather and father quite well. And like I said earlier, Cheyenne, when you weren't on here, when I saw your name here, I thought to myself, she can't be on the fire department. She's only probably 10 years old. So,
Nope.
but so I would be, do you want to take them both at the same time, Jeff, or one at a time?
Either way is good, but why don't we go ahead and, is it Gavin or Gabe?
Gavin.
Gavin?
Do we lose him?
No, I'm here.
No, he's there.
Oh, there you are.
I also just really wanted to, give back to my community and support my community. But, as a junior in high school, it's kind of difficult to find opportunities to do that. And my dad's already a firefighter, so I thought that'd be a really good way to, add myself to the community and support it.
Did you get an opportunity for the, to take a look at the engines and stuff the other day?
I did, yeah, during truck checks.
Maintenance checks?
Yeah,
Good.
so Gavin is going to be a junior firefighter for us.
Right.
So he's going to be a junior for a couple of years. And then Cheyenne is already signed up for the Fire 1 and 2 class that Knox County's putting on starting like next week or whatever it is. So
Where are they doing that?
it's based out of St. George, but the classes are going to be like at each town out through the county, out through the course.
Oh,
So
good.
so they're kind of involving the whole county because it's through the Knox County Fire Training Academy.
So Gavin, do you live in town?
I live in Port Clyde with my father and in Spruce Head with my mother, so I'm really close.
Yeah, okay. And Cheyenne, I have the same question. Can I just jump back to you for a second? Are you living in town?
Yep, I'm right on Grierson Road.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
My only other question, David already answered, was Gavin gonna be a junior firefighter, so.
Yep.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the recommendation of Chief Elwell and hire Cheyenne Grissom and Gavin Burgess as Gavin as a junior firefighter and Cheyenne as a firefighter regular. I don't know what's her technical.
Yeah. regular firefighter.
regular firefighter.
Yep.
Second that. Any further discussion? All those in favor, John?
John, I,
Jeff, I. Welcome aboard. Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Jeff, I have
Amy.
a question before we move on.
Yes, sir.
So I have one more new applicant that's getting ready to turn his application in. He joined the ambulance a while back, so he's already been in front of you guys. Does he need to come back for the fire side?
I wouldn't think so, John.
I don't
You
think
got a
so either.
job,
I think we just have to hire them as employees, and once they're an employee, they can be moved around. I mean, that's the way it's always been.
Yep, okay.
But I do have a question. These folks are not starting at actually working before they're hired, are they, by us?
No, I brought him into the truck checks
Yeah.
to just kind of see what we do and,
But that's a volunteer thing.
yep,
Yeah, okay, because that gets into workers' comp and all that stuff, so.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure.
so is it, so we vote as the officers, we vote to hire them on, accept them on the department. They're not hired on until they come and see you guys.
Yeah, they're technically, where we don't have a town manager form of government, the select board is the hiring agent for the town. And it's not an issue unless, there was an accident, workers' comp somehow got involved, but I just want to make sure they can volunteer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, no, perfect.
And Amy.
Hi.
Hi.
I have one that's in EMT class tonight, so he is unable to be on, and the other one is still working. So I have one on, so we'll start with the one that's here. Connor?
Hey.
Oh, there you are.
Oh,
So Connor Calderwood, he already has his AVOC. He works for Thomaston right now, lives in South Thomaston, and would like to start with us as driving also. So Connor, would you like to say why you would like to be part of South Thomaston Ambulance?
I would like to be part of the Thompson ambulance to further my, I would say, learning experience to further understand the EMS world of it, because I eventually want to get my EMT license and further my career in fire and EMS. So I feel like being here and in Thomaston will kind of boost my experience and help me understand EMS a little bit better.
Thank you.
Connor, you previously worked on the South Thompson Fire Department, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Yeah, okay. I'm all set. I know Connor and
Yep.
don't have any questions other than that one. I just wanted to make sure it was the same person because I have your printed name is right in front of your face. So
Yeah, that's fair.
yeah, that's better.
There we go. So do you want to do just Connor and wait on Matt and Chris, or?
I mean they're not here. Chris
Right.
works in St. George. He lives in Rockland. He is getting ready to test out to be an EMT. He's already passed his class. He just wanted to work in both. So if we need to move back and forth like we do a lot of other people. And Matt is the same. But he has class tonight and couldn't hop on because he's in class. So
So when you say Matt is the same, he's an EMT?
he is in class to be an EMT. He is.
Oh, okay. So
and he's a
Chris is
driver.
already an EMT.
He's a driver.
Oh.
He's testing to be an EMT. He passed his
Okay.
class. So
And
one's
Matt-
still in class, one's passed his class.
Okay. So which one? Chris has passed his EMT class?
He's got to just do his national registry
Okay. And Matt is
in class.
yeah. And they both work on St. George?
Yes.
Okay. Did you want to have them introduced personally, Jeff, or?
I'm okay with approving them if they can't make it to this.
Last time we
But-
just had them come to a different meeting, but they could be approved for, but that's up to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think especially the one that's already an EMT, because she may
Or
want to
he's
start
gonna
using
test.
him
Yeah.
right away. If we can go ahead and approve it, and then at their first opportunity, it would still be nice to put a face to the names.
Yep.
Yeah, but at this point, we're hiring them as drivers.
Right.
Okay. I'm comfortable with that if they've been working in St. George and one's in class and but I agree with you, it'd be nice to put a face to a name at some point, but so I'll make a motion that we accept the recommendation of the ambulance director and hire I don't have Matt's last name.
Hero.
Matt Hero and Chris Gamage as drivers on the South Thomaston Fire Department.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? All those in favor, John?
John, I.
Jeff, I, 2-0. Thank you, Amy. Oh, now the
You adding-
stabilization grant.
Was you adding Connor to that list?
Oh,
And
sorry, yes.
Don't forget Connor. He's here.
Oh, I thought you
I'm
said him
sorry.
first.
Yes, I'll amend my motion to include Connor if Jeff will
Yes.
amend his second. For some reason I thought we did Connor.
Okay, now the stabilization grant.
I'm sorry, I had my hand up, but I was muted.
Oh. Go ahead, Walter.
Can I suggest that next time you have a chance that you cross-check with Kristen on this practice? Because it came about because of some specific instructions that she gave to the board back when I was on it about how can you guys be hiring when you don't know the people that you're hiring? Because we weren't interviewing candidates. So I would suggest that you cross-check with her about the specifics.
Okay,
Because it was an executive session kind of thing and we didn't take any minutes. We just followed Christian's marching orders.
Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea if Walter has a memory of it being an issue. But that's something Terry could follow up on?
Yep.
Are you okay with that, Jeff? That was a question to Jeff.
yeah, yeah. Whoever gets to her first, I'm gonna end up having to talk to her about the changes
Oh,
to
okay. Yeah.
land use anyway.
Yeah.
But if you end up talking to her as a CEO or something ahead of that, just ask her about it.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that because I know
Yep.
As a town manager, I signed off on hires that I didn't interview. And because as the town manager, town manager was the hiring authority. I just never heard that as an issue. But if Walter remembers it that way, I trust Walter's memory, so.
Oh, I would say that in Kristen's style, she gave us a butt kicking about not fulfilling our responsibility as hiring the hiring entity.
Yeah, and I do think we weren't doing the job of actually hiring people. I remember the fire department, I think, used to hire people. And I don't know about the ambulance. I can't remember there without coming to the select board. And I do think that is a problem, but anyways, so either Jeff or Terry will check.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else with their hands up that I don't see? Okay, Amy, stabilization grant.
So we talked about it, I think, the last month I was on about the 37 million that the main EMS are put forth, and the first 19 rolls out in the next 90 days. When we did the formula, I think South Thomaston was 45,136, if I remember right. But I'll get you the exact number. But I need permission to be able to Terry got me all the paperwork I needed and the vendor number. It's just making out the rest of the application. The biggest that we need to do is use it for EMS for stabilization in South Thomaston. So it doesn't have to specifically have exactly what we're going to use it for when I put in for it. It just says that we have to use it for EMS only, for stabilizing, for anything to do with equipment or capital reserve. Only up to 25,000 can be put into capital reserve, or stabilizing for people, as we talked about before. You didn't want to do like hourly, but maybe some bonuses. It's something to look at once we get it. It's not something that we have to have in writing before we apply for it. I just need permission to apply for it.
Do you need us to authorize you to sign it or Terry to sign it or?
It's computerized, so I have to hit a button. So whoever is
Okay.
making out the 45
Okay.
questions,
You
50,
just need it
you
on the
want to do
record.
it, I can give it to you.
No, I just wanted to make sure the motion was
You're good,
what you
Amy.
needed. I
Darn.
just want to make sure the motion is what you need, you know?
Yeah.
So, when you say, when and how would the distribution of these funds be considered
So once it's applied,
internally? Once we get it, say,
Oh,
oh,
okay.
you're awarded, how do we sort out, 25 for
So
this and
that's up to us. So as
us,
in the select
us
board
being,
and EMS.
so does that something that comes back to the select board then?
Yes. Yep.
Okay,
They'll
I
say
just-
this is how much you get, and then we have to do a report on what we used it for.
okay. Terry, my screen just went crazy.
Is it okay now?
No, I can't see it. I'm gonna, I may lose you here, and if I do, I'll try to come right back in, okay?
Okay.
I got a feeling I can't seem to feel how to get out of this without, here goes. Nope,
Good.
So I'll make a motion. We authorize the ambulance director to submit the EMS stabilization grant in the amount of approximately $45,000.
Yes.
Whatever Terry, you can put in the minutes, whatever the exact amount is.
Okay, will you send me the exact amount, Amy?
Oh, well, it's a formula that state did for me,
Okay.
so I'll send it to you.
And I'll second that. And under further discussion that I do think the expenditures probably do need to come back to the select board, only because when they give these things out and they say they have to be used for this, but you don't have to tell us what you're going to use it for. What they mean is 6 months from now, we're going to say, what did you use it for? And if you didn't use it for what they wanted you to use it for, they're going to pull it back.
Right.
So if you take it to the select board, that we've got good documentation, record keeping and auditing and all that kind of stuff. So it'll make it easier, I think, on you in the long run if you do bring it back to us.
Definitely.
So any further discussion?
Could I ask one question? Is every EMS service in the state getting something?
It
When you
starts
say
at
there's a formula, so I
yeah, it
assume that,
starts at 5,000, and there's some that I get to 200,000. So it depends on the royalty of your department, all that stuff, how many calls you do.
okay, so
So yeah,
it's truly a formula based, then
Yeah.
it's not a competitive. We get it, you don't, that type of thing.
nope,
Okay, thank
everybody's
you.
eligible for it.
Yeah,
Do you get more or less if TRICARE recognizes you? Never mind, that's a different question. Okay, further discussion. All those in favor, John?
John,
Jeff, I. And let's see. Oh. This is for Cliff and for Chief, right? to apply for the Firehouse Subs Foundation grant.
Yeah, I can take that, Jeff.
Thanks.
So the Firehouse Subs is a national chain of fast food restaurant. The closest one is in Topsom, and they have a foundation that makes grants to fire departments. We would like to have select board approval to submit an application to the Firehouse Subs Foundation for roughly $13,000 to fund two sets of equipment to extinguish fires in electric vehicles. Electric vehicles have specific problems with fire control, and this kit includes a device that mimics the charging, that fills up the charging port and fools the car into thinking it's charging even though it's not, and it inactivates its motor systems. And then it has another actually very cool thing that you can see on the YouTube if you like, which is a blanket that two firefighters can pull over the car, and it's a fireproof blanket and weighted, and it essentially starves the fire of oxygen, and it puts the fire out. And then the third thing is a device that goes underneath the car and floods the area where the battery is with a large amount of water, which is what you need to do because these battery fires spread from cell to cell and they're very hot. So we'll be the only ones in the area that have anything like that, if we're lucky enough to get the grant, but I'd like to have permission to submit it.
I have one question that I assume I know the answer to. I assume the chief supports you in this effort. I guess I can ask David directly since he's right there.
In my subordinate position, and I don't dare to speak for the chief.
Yes, no, 100%.
Good.
You want a motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we authorize the fire department on behalf of the town, I'm not gonna say Cliff, to submit a grant to Firehouse Subs in the approximate amount of $13,000 for the for equipment.
Second. Any further discussion?
Just thank you, Cliff, for your efforts.
Sure. I might add that we have been awarded $35,000 from the Stephen King Foundation for devices to support cars that are turned over and whatnot. And we also received a matching grant from the Maine State Wildlife Bureau or whatever it is to upgrade our fire ponds, the dry hydrants in the fire ponds.
Actually, Jeff, I did have one other question. You said there was no match requirement. In an earlier email, I believe you said there were absolutely no strings at all. So there's no, we're not committed to down the road if one of these breaks that we have to go buy another one, or there's no tails.
That's what we got too. That's why we've got two.
As I like to say, there's no tails on it, so.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor, John?
John, aye.
Jeff, aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just looking whether I wanted to squeeze one of those other two in now, but consider donation from the Board of Directors of the Library Community Center Auxiliary Board of $4,000 to be used for an architectural drawing for the new building. And John, I think you're familiar with this.
I am, but I'll just introduce it briefly, and I'm not gonna ask Sandy to speak to the specifics of what they want to use the funds for. The auxiliary, the Library and Community Center Auxiliary voted at its last meeting to spend, to donate $4,000 to the town. So the town, through its Community and Facilities Committee, could engage an architect for some preliminary work that committee has negotiated with this particular architect. And with that, I don't have a great deal of knowledge on that. I want to turn that over to Sandy on the particulars.
Great. So the facility committee is about getting ready to do a lot of outreach to citizens, residents in town. And each one will have, we're all going to have house groups in our homes to talk about the new building. And while we have the great presentation that Gabe Tomasulo prepared, everybody on the committee felt they needed some kind of a three-dimensional drawing. That it was too hard to visualize what a drawing on that property might look like. And so I spoke with Gabe at that point, and he suggested I call Alexander Shaw, also known as Xander, who did the architectural work for AIO in Rockland, and he also worked on the Owl's Head School project, and he's got a long history in Boston as well. And he is willing to do what would be the next step if he were to really be the architect, which he's not yet, but right now he gave us a very good idea about scope of work, that what has been done so far by Gabe Tomasulo is the pre-design and programming, which is really well done. And now the schematic design, which would be three-dimensional, we could take these to meetings and really talk about elevations, and we could talk about the way that a building might of that size might fit on that property, and understand a little bit more about what the relationship of all those programming things that we did would look like in 3 dimensions. So he gave us a couple different phases. We're asking for that. We asked for this money from the board of directors for phase 1, which is about, he said it's 44 to 50 hours worth of work. The cost is around $4,000 depending on those hours, and he's billing us at a reduced price of $85 an hour because he really likes working on community projects. So that's what the money is going to be used for. Our committee has 3 of us met him. He's going to come to our next meeting to talk further about what we're really looking for. And I need to sign a contract with him, and and the board of directors approved the money. So we would like to accept that. We'd like you to accept that.
I don't have any questions. Do you, Jeff?
No, I understand it. So we need a motion to accept
Yeah.
the money.
Well,
the
I
donation.
envision it as a 2-part motion. One is to accept the money for that condition, and then to authorize the engagement, which would involve some sort of service agreement, I assume, and Terry would need to get his insurance information and blah, blah, blah. But I do have a question. I know an audience member a few weeks ago, Sue's not here, unfortunately, a few weeks ago questioned if I was in some sort of conflict of interest by serving as president of the auxiliary and also on the select board. And I'm kind of sensitive to that. I don't think in a technical sense I am in conflict of interest, because that would require that I have a pecuniary interest in this transaction, which of course I don't. But since we only have 2, I'm gonna, I had thought about abstaining on this tonight, but since there's only 2 of us, we can't move forward without it. I'm not gonna, unless, Jeff, you feel that I do have some sort of conflict of interest. And in that case, and I feel I would have to not vote, which would be unfortunate because they want to move this along. So
yeah, No, I feel just exactly the opposite. We pretty much appointed you to that position, right? We nominated you to the appointing official. So I don't see how it can be a conflict of interest. You're there to you're on that committee to serve the town's business. So
Okay. All right. Well, it doesn't feel good when somebody in the audience says you have a conflict of interest, and so I just wanted, I feel the same way you do, but so I'll make a motion that we accept a $4,000 donation, that the town accept a $4,000 donation from the Library and Community Center Auxiliary Ward for the purpose of engaging an architect and to authorize Terry working through the Facilities Committee to sign the agreement and gather whatever information she is required to get to engage Alexander Shaw. Is that too long, Terry?
I'm glad it's recorded.
and I'll second that. And I do understand that it is contingent upon Alexander Shaw, not just any architect, right? So
It's Alexander Shaw that we've been negotiating with. Yep.
yeah, well, what I'm saying is if tomorrow he can't do it for 5 years or some reason, something happens and he can't do it, the Library Community Auxiliary Board conditioned it on hiring him. Is that correct? Do I understand that correctly?
Yes, that was correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll expand on that a little more. The auxiliary board themselves could have hired this gentleman because this is part of the fundraising effort, so to speak, or it's primarily part of that. Sandy, stomp on me if I say something's incorrect, but at this point, we don't have any insurance or that type of stuff. So we felt it would just be cleaner and neater to work through, make a donation to the town for basically because we don't have insurance at this point. So
Yeah, we're working on that.
yeah, we are working on that. So
good.
I have
Any
another-
further? Go ahead. Tom.
After you vote, I have another question to ask, but go ahead.
Okay. All right. Then without any further discussion, all those in favor, John?
John, I.
And Jeff, I. Carries 2-0. Sandy, do you have something else?
Yes, so another thing has come up. We've been talking, and we talked about it at the board of directors and also at the facility committee to how to keep track of donors and database and software that is required to do that. And Catherine, who's on the facility committee, has done a lot of research and had presented at our last facility committee wanting to purchase a Little Green Light, which is used by a number of small nonprofits in the area. And she's been working on it and talking to others who are using it. The amount, it's another expenditure of money. And I just want to make sure I do this the right way, because with this last one, we started with the board, went to the facility committee, and now select board. In this case, the facility committee has approved spending, moving forward with Little Green Light at the amount of $486. So is my next move to now go to the board of directors and then come back to the select board, or is there another way to shorten this circuit a little bit?
I think you could go, the town has an account with some money in it. I don't know how much.
Yeah, okay, so we could.
You could go directly, you'd still have to go to the board to get permission to spend that money out of that account. But if you're ready, I've heard quite a bit of talk about this. I'd be willing to move on that tonight personally for that amount of money.
Yeah.
Out of the town account. But Terry, how much is do you know how much is in that, or how much will be after this meeting? There was 850,
in there.
but we reimbursed for the 501c3 at the last meeting.
Yep.
That was, so there should be more than 400 in there, right?
I I can't remember how much you took out. Let me,
Well, if not, we could jump down to the donation from Cliff and Sherry Dasco and accept
Yeah.
that, and then there's clearly more than they.
yep.
Right. Okay.
Jeff, how do you want to handle that?
Well, doesn't the Community Facilities Committee have a budget? Don't they have a budget? Didn't we
No,
build them a budget this year?
no,
We didn't. Okay.
no. But we have some money from, we've had 2 donations into that account. Well, we've had one that we've had for quite some time.
Right.
And we approved using $300 and something out of that, $850 for the 501c3 application fee. We have on the agenda tonight another donation that we have not accepted yet from Cliff and Sherry Dasco of $1,000 to that account. So I think there's already 400 and something in there, but just if we're worried about that, we could jump down and accept the $1,000 and then approve the 450.
Or we can just approve it contingent upon funds
Sure.
being available in that account.
I'll make a motion. We authorize, how much was the money?
$486 per year. So this year. is
So it
four-
would be this year. So I'll make a motion. We authorize $486 paid for from the town's new library account. I'm not sure what you're calling that, Terry, for the purchase
The
of
library account.
little green light software.
Great.
And I'll second that. Any further discussion? Hearing
I have-
none.
I have
All
a-
those in favor, John?
We got a hand up. I
Oh,
don't know if you want.
Walter.
So who is gonna own and operate Little Green Light in this scenario? Because
we-
I mean, the
yeah, okay.
fundraising responsibility belongs to the auxiliary board, but the technical expertise is Catherine. So
Well,
I,
we're
and
s-
go
We're
ahead.
forming a small committee, Walter, called the Data Management Committee, and it's going to be made up of Catherine Lerm and Rhonda Nordstrom. So we've got a combined board and facilities committee, which we're hoping in other places will be able to do the same thing. But they are the ones that will be the, what do you call it, Catherine? The people who are,
Admins.
The systems administrators.
yeah, the administrators. They are the administrators of Little Green Light, and
But Walter brings up a good point. Under this scenario, the town would be the licensee of that software, not the auxiliary board,
right.
which doesn't mean we both couldn't share it and use it, but the
Well,
town would be.
That's actually good because there might be other opportunities to use Little Green Light for other events down the road, and so you already own the software. I have a question about the, I don't, about the 501c3 filing fee. Explain what happened there since I paid it.
Um, the town, correct me if I'm wrong, Terry, cut a check to the auxiliary for reimbursement of that fee.
Okay, all right, so. 'cause
And
I
so
just-
it's in the auxiliary board's account. So if you're looking for reimbursement, I
I'm
guess
not,
you would
no,
have,
no, no, the
you would have to go to
No,
the
no,
treasurer.
no, the auxiliary board has it, and I just already have put it into my tax prep document as a contribution,
Oh,
so.
well, thank you, Walter.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
That's
Did we
really
vote?
yeah, we did vote and she followed up with a question.
Okay.
Okay.
No, we vote on the second motion,
The second motion.
the little green light?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Okay.
thought we did.
Okay. My memory's obviously not what it used to be.
Well, neither is mine. No, I don't think we did. Did we?
Terry?
You did make a motion.
Fear moved and, well, I wrote down that you voted.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. John, yeah, I remember now.
Okay, thank you again. That was great.
And thank
for your
you,
work.
Catherine.
Well, let's,
Not much.
why don't we go ahead and do the CMP billing thing? I think we can probably make pretty good. The billing agreement with CMP for the solar panels, Terry?
Yes, I honestly haven't really had a chance to look at it too much.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. I haven't even looked at it.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to put it off till next time?
I don't mind, but I looked through it and it's a standard CMP
Yeah, I mean, it's
agreement
pretty
for it,
pretty
and it's
straightforward.
just saying,
I guess I have a question. Does it even need the select board action? I mean, is it something Terry
don't-
as the administrator? I mean, she signs contracts to buy our fuel or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
I always ask first.
yeah, that was my thinking. Matter of fact, I almost sent her a note and said, no, just go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
I
'Cause
thought maybe I could because I signed the Sundog contract, but I
Right.
didn't overstep any bounds.
No, then that's always a good thing. Terry, I would like 5 minutes to look at it, maybe tomorrow, and
Okay.
if you don't hear from me, if Jeff's okay, I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm good with it. Okay.
I'm sure it's just boilerplate CMP.
It
Yeah.
is.
Jeff, could we take up the Land for Maine's Futures? Because I know Sandra and Catherine are both here for that, and I don't know if, I know Sandra a lot of times stays for our whole meetings, but Catherine doesn't always, so.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking at is
Oh, thank you.
to go ahead and start on that discussion and I'll turn it over to you, John, because you seem to have a little more understanding on it. I was a little confused by the proposition because it talked about property that we don't know who owns it. There's some question about 25 acres. I'm not familiar with
Yeah,
that.
I think that's been simplified somewhat. But let me just start out. If you'll recall, when we voted on the land purchase, I don't know what that was. Was that? I heard a noise.
My
I don't
dog.
know.
That was my dog.
Oh, your dog.
Sounds ferocious.
It does. When we purchased the land, if you recall, everyone will recall, the article said that we would try to recoup some donations and our grants to basically offset some of those costs because we funded it out of surplus at the time. And we've been somewhat successful in some donations. And also, if you remember at the time, we talked with the Land for Maine's Future Board because typically they don't allow you to submit a grant for something that's already been purchased. And we put in I guess, sort of a pre-application and worked with one of the departments because you got to have one of the state departments be your sponsor, so to speak. And we got that in time before we closed on the Smith property. At that time, there were no grant opportunities available. Well, one is now available, although it has a very short turnaround time. We actually have to submit an inquiry form by Friday. So Sandra and Catherine have been working on that kind of very quickly. And our initial thinking was that we sort of had to have this more tied up than we do now. The land that was referred to as with the title is unclear, is on the town survey, and it's a piece off the original plot map. But based on conversations, as I understand it, Sandra can maybe fill in some of the details in a moment, that Sandra had with LMF today, they feel that just complicates the matter, and including any town land in this application at this time is just going to complicate the matter, and we should just focus on the properties that we purchased because that's what we're looking for some reimbursement on. So I think that whole issue, unless things are changed again, this is a very fluid situation. I think that issue's gone away for now. And I don't think we need to discuss tonight if we want to donate or include, for lack of a better word, any town land in the so-called preserve. I think that's a discussion we can have at another time when it's been properly put on the agenda. And so at this point in time, to cut to the chase, the Conservation Commission, or is just through Sandra and Catherine, sort of a little subgroup, is just looking for permission and support from the select board to submit this inquiry form by Friday. It commits us to nothing, but it does keep our foot in the door for perhaps getting some reimbursement. That's kind of a simplified version. And I would ask Sandra if she wants to, if it's okay with you, Jeff, have Sandra fill in some of the, maybe the blanks a little bit, and certainly Catherine. So Sandra? You're muted. You're muted.
I know, I
Oh, okay,
know. No,
okay.
I'm not.
Oh, I thought you were talking.
No, I was said, yes, I know I'm muted. Okay. So there were some chunks of surprisingly good news today. As John said, we were concerned before that if we didn't have town land in it, it would be too small to be of interest to them. But they said, no, the 129 acres that we'd be talking about if we just do Smith and Klein is plenty. They also said that because we got such a deal on the Smith land, which was less than 25% of the assessed value, and Lord knows what the market, what percentage it would have been on market, that we can ask, instead of asking for 50% of what we paid, we can ask for the whole thing, which is less than 50% of the value. If I haven't lost you, she had to explain it to me 3 times. So that our application can be for the whole 67,000 plus, there's a bit you can add on for stewardship, whatever, not much, but a little bit. But one thing that does mean is that right now, and she seemed very encouraging, that we haven't, the fact that we had to pre-acquire it, the fact that we will not be able to submit a totally complete application on Friday will be close, but there's some, attachments that we will not be able to complete. We can start the process, but we'll have to say, we're working on it. She said none of that should rule us out. So that bottom line, we might be able to get from Land for Maine's Future in the fullness of time after we jump through some more hoops, because there's a second, this is only keep the door open. There will be deadline March 22nd, another full application for which I'll explain later the hoops. I don't know them myself at this point. I've been catch up. But we might get our entire outlay back, counting the value of the land as whatever. Anyway, the value of that land will allow us to ask for the whole amount that we paid. So one thing I would suggest is that any fundraising attempts from here on focus on all the other things we're going to need to spend it on. So we can talk about that more later and, get on a later agenda to detail it, but we're going to need serious money for the survey, which we need to do. Even though it really gripes me, we're going to probably have to pay for an appraisal to tell us that it's worth even more than we assessed it for, which I am sure it was. Although the tricky bit there is that now that it has the deed requirements that it be put in conservation, that may lower the value. How much it will lower it, I don't know. One other thing they are going to want from us, and I have no idea if we have it. Do we have title insurance on those properties?
No, we have a title
Well,
opinion. But
that's probably
we
not
could-
going to be enough, but
we
I don't
couldn't
know for
get-
sure.
We couldn't get, I can check with Jim Strong, but my understanding is we weren't able to get title insurance because we didn't have a survey. This is this continuous chicken and egg stuff.
Yeah, right. Oh, I know, there's a lot of chickens chasing eggs. Right, okay, so we're gonna have to do a
So,
survey.
but let me,
And we could,
I would want to
bring-
confirm
yeah.
that. I would want to
But I-
confirm that.
yes, but I'm inclined to think that's right.
Yeah.
Uh, So anyway, one thing I would just want to be sure I have tonight is the select board's blessing to submit that this week as soon as I've got it put together. And I'm working with Flora at Flora Drury at LMF, and she's wonderful. I think I'd have been tempted to harakiri if she hadn't been there today. Because I had no idea how we're going to pull all this together, and she's just open the path. But anyway, I need the select board's blessing to submit it when I've got it put together. And I did send about 5:45 the draft application, which is not entirely complete. I'm still working on attachments. So I think we've really taken away anything that commits you to something that you're not ready to commit to, but you should look at it.
Jeff, I see no downside to submitting this inquiry form on Friday at all. And I enthusiastically support it. I did want to make one little comment. I think if we were so lucky as to get it all back, I think we could then go to the folks that have donated and say to them, geez, we had a bit of a windfall here. We got it all back. Would you like your donation back, or would you be willing to donate it towards getting the cost of a survey or some other need? Because I was
Give
thinking
them
about
a long list of things they could donate it for, yeah.
I was thinking about that after that. If we got it all back and I donated, which I did, I was going to say, wait a minute. but anyways, but I think there's a way around that if we are so fortunate, if we have so lucky to have that problem.
Right, and if they do, then any donation that repays surplus looks like it's just a wash, because in terms of what the town paid, so we paid X amount and donations covered some of that, and it just goes back to surplus. But if the donation covers something else, we can use it for match. So,
Yeah. So, but some people have already done my point.
oh yeah, I know.
Yeah. So, but I think we can deal with that.
Oh,
Again,
by
if
the
we're
way, have we thanked the donors?
yeah, sure.
Okay.
I got my letter. I mean, if it's been accepted, if it hasn't been accepted, we haven't thanked.
Oh, right. Okay.
So Jeff, I don't know if that helps.
You're muted,
You're
Jeff.
muted.
you're muted.
Yeah, but the money that's coming back, if it comes back from the grant, that doesn't have strings attached to it, or does it, or is it?
There will be
designated-
some string. There will be some strings, and I have not had time to look into them, but if they're not going to be, I mean, if the whole idea is to put it into a preserve, they're going to be consistent with what we want to do. But we now have to look closely at all the hoops we'll need to jump through for the final application and see that we're comfortable with jumping through them. And then there'll be additional hoops to jump through if we're approved.
Right.
You know, there's
But
some
they-
things like we don't need to do an appraisal until we're approved. For example.
But they do understand, Jeff, that we prepaid this and we're basically submitting an application to get some of our, or all now, of our
Mhm.
money back. They understand that.
Okay, does that, well, I mean, then it's people who have donated for that cause, their
Yeah.
money goes to that cause.
Right.
And then this
Mhm.
money just comes in as extra, right?
Well, yeah, but that's why I don't think that's fair. I do think if we are fortunate enough to get it all back, then we need to go to those donors. There aren't many.
Right.
And say, would you like your donation back? Or would you be willing to perhaps donate it towards a survey or signage or whatever? So,
Good.
and I know for me myself, I can't speak for Leslie, but I'd be certainly willing to put it towards a survey or something. So, but I guess my point is, I was a little worried about that when I heard it this afternoon that we might get it all back, because then it felt like we were kind of double dipping there. So,
So I'd like to add something.
Catherine, go ahead.
Yes, so obviously, let's not count our chicken before they
No.
hatch. And it would be at least a year from March until they disperse anything. And in the meantime, before that happens, we need to have the survey done. So we're gonna need more money to pay for the survey. And, some of the other documents like Sandra is talking about, we're gonna get the help for that. But the survey is the big one. And I believe, given what we paid for the land, that we can be maybe exempted from doing an appraisal, like they would accept the opinion of real estate professionals, given, the current real estate markets. Because as Sandra said, I mean, why spend money on an appraisal if then we don't get the grant, we are more in the hole. So they have to understand that. So that's it.
No, we would not have to do the appraisal until they said, we're going to give you the money. We just need you to jump through these last hoops. So we would already know that we're approved to get a grant before we spent money on an appraisal. But it's still, in my opinion, money thrown away, because surely that land was worth more than we assessed it for.
Yes. Yeah, and you're being a good lawyer, you can present an argument to that effect.
It's not
Yeah,
my
but-
specialty.
the political history though with Land for Maine's Future is that there's a group out there, including our former governor, who felt that that Lands for Maine's Future was way overpaying for certain properties, and I think that's when this appraisal got really
Very
strict.
likely.
Got really
Yeah.
strict, and so
Yeah.
but I agree with you. I was thinking at one point, well, if we're only going to get 50% back, and before we actually get the money, we got to have a survey and an appraisal. Are we going to break even?
Exactly. But it's, if based on what I've learned today, we are now able to ask for double the money we thought we could. So that is very
and
good
perhaps
news.
not have to do an appraisal.
Yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't hope, I would not hope for that.
Perhaps.
I do have another question.
Go ahead, Catherine.
So we have this going, and irrespective of the result of that grant application, I mean, it's my understanding that we are moving forward with the survey. We are going to need it even to apply for other grants for development of the land and maybe paying for the forester services and so forth. So that's where, I would like to have, again, the blessing and permission to, go with the track to try to identify the proper surveyor. And I know, obviously there is an obvious candidate, but, I don't want us to just stop at putting that application in and then wait. I think we need to keep moving and get the survey going. And when I say that is, maybe apply for a grant to get money to do this, pay for the survey and so forth.
Well,
I agree. And
I see.
also, as John said, even if we start today talking to a surveyor, they're scheduling so far out, it could be months before they could put anybody out to do the work.
Yeah, and some other grant, organization have cycles that are coming due as well. So I don't want us to lose those opportunities. And, you know, if we can have an estimate for how much would the survey cost, you know, keep getting the estimates for all the costs that we have down the road so that we can start submitting grant, you know, requests for those costs.
Well,
I don't see any problem doing that. I think, John, you got a motion you want to make for this?
Sure, and then I do want to have just a brief comment on the survey issue. I move that we authorize the submission of an inquiry form to the Land for Maine's Futures Board seeking reimbursement of costs for the Smith property. I don't think we can submit it for the Klein
No,
property.
Smith and Klein, Smith and Klein.
Okay, because Klein, I thought we closed before we did that, but okay, Smith,
No,
I'm gonna say
no.
Smith and or Klein.
Okay.
For, I guess that's it.
Yeah, I'll second that. Any further discussion on that particular motion?
I just want to thank Sandra and Catherine for kind of being all over this. They're really taking this to heart. And I think we did promise the townspeople we'd try to get reimbursement, and they're taking that promise to heart.
Yep.
So Sandra is putting the lion's share of the work.
All right.
No,
All those in
Catherine's
favor?
done, yeah.
John,
John, I.
Jeff, I, 2-0. Okay, John, you wanted to talk about.
Just real quick, I agree with everything Catherine said, and what I was envisioning, and I would like to do it, if there's no objections from the board, and that's only you tonight, is I would like to sit down with the surveyor who I communicated with during the closing process, along with Sandra and perhaps Catherine, and show him what we got, because we have a preliminary survey, we have the town survey, the old Prethero property survey, and what we're thinking, and kind of get a sense from him on what we're looking at, and maybe some advice from him. And I think he'd be willing to do that. Unless there's an objection, I'd like to move ahead with that.
Yeah,
not come in us to anything, just have
no, I
information.
agree. Some kind of a timetable and a cost are the two things I'm looking for.
Yeah, and letting him know what we have already, and because he did the latest survey, which Smith never finished, so it's not actually a survey of the Smith property, so. And he's the one that we dealt with at closing, Jim and I, when we learned that we didn't have surveys, we relied on his advice that he had done that work and he saw nothing glaring. So anyways, okay, great.
So do you want to contact him, or do you?
Yes, I will. I've already talked to him back when we were doing the closing. So, and if you guys would like to be involved, let me know. I'll have to zoom in.
want to. Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Could I? Sorry about your.
But I just wanted to note something else, and for a future meeting, but soon, because Terry's going to be on our case, which is that we've got to start working on budget, both for the puny little Conservation Commission, but also there needs to be a budget line for somehow or other. We need to have in the budget the work on the preserve. All this stuff that we're talking about needing money for, we may get grants and donations to cover some of it or great chunks of it, but I think we need to budget for it.
Yeah, I agree, and it is one of the items on our list here is the budget timetables.
She's paying attention, Terry.
Okay. Next item is discussion of delinquent personal property tax bills.
Good night, folks.
Good night.
Good night.
Night. I guess that would be me.
Yes, ma'am.
We've been carrying these for a while. The businesses no longer exist. When one of them did exist, they really didn't respond to any bills they received. I meant to email Mindy to see, can we write them off? Do you want to write them off? Do we just let them hang on the books?
Well, we've talked about them. We've talked about them several times. And I know Russell Montgomery has received and picked up a couple of different letters, but that's now 11 years old.
Right,
He didn't die. It was his brother that died, right?
correct.
Yeah. Maine Coast Seafood. I mean, those are fairly recent, the last 3 years, but I don't think there's much going on there now, and their property's getting worse every day.
I think it's really pretty much gone now.
We Cares, well, we're talking $80.
Yeah, and they're no longer in business.
Yeah. Spruce Head Pizza, I don't know if he even lives on Ratcliffe Island anymore, or if he's in Oregon, for all I know.
Yeah,
That's the largest one, right? That's 2 years, but that's 2015 and 2021, which is very odd. Why would there be 6 years in between?
oh, I don't know, did I have a typo?
I don't know. Because I don't think he was there 6 years.
No, I don't think it was there very long, and
He was in the old island store
yeah,
for a couple of years.
couple of years.
Mm.
Yeah, it just seems like again, it's kind of like the ambulance bills, they're just ignoring it. And they're such little amounts that just kind of gets brushed aside.
Is Maine Coast Seafood even aware? I mean, they weren't even aware that their property tax bill wasn't paid last year, right?
I know,
Because somebody else was supposed to pay it.
right, Viva was supposed to be doing it.
They
But if
did
it's-
pay that, right?
They paid their property taxes, yes.
Yeah. I bet they're not even aware of it.
Well, the bill would go, again, the bill goes out to them, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure they're really up on top of. the business.
I think, I don't know how long small claims, how many years you can go for small claims.
Yeah, I don't know.
But aren't we getting ready to, I was serious when I held up that collection services.
Oh, you were?
Yeah. I mean, they primarily do medical, but
Oh, yeah, they might do.
Yeah, well,
I
We
mean-
Care doesn't qualify because it had to be over $100.
right. And actually of all of them on there, that's the one I'm not really interested in chasing, but I mean, the others are almost $1,000 or 600 maybe. But
Go ahead. Let's have Terry have a conversation with them about it.
yeah,
Okay.
see if we can do other than medical with them.
Yeah, I mean, again, I just hate to let people just ignore it and then eventually we write it off. It just grates me the wrong way.
And
When
I'll
everybody
tell you the
else-
truth, I feel much better about sending them to collections than I do sending somebody who got an ambulance ride to collections.
Yeah,
I agree. I do.
yeah. And some of these people we know, Russell Montgomery, we know signed for his,
Yep,
yeah, they may say it's too old. Wasn't there a clause in their contract about age? But
Maybe.
talk to him, Terry.
I
Yeah.
will.
I'm not ready to write it off.
Okay. All right, we'll pursue I mean, I can also send out all the bills to them again and see what happens there.
And if they're willing to take it with the collections agency, then put that same verbiage in there.
Okay,
If we don't hear from you by X and X, we're sending it to collections.
okay, I'll do that.
Is Maine Coast Seafood the Athenas family?
Yeah.
Yep,
They sold Anthony's Pier 4 for gazillions of dollars. Of course, they have more lawsuits against them than you can shake a stick at. So let's add one more to the list.
Well, I suspect the guy that was renting it was supposed to be paying their property taxes from what Terry has advised me.
Yes.
And I suspect he was probably supposed to pay that too, so. They didn't realize he hadn't paid their property taxes, and as soon as they learned that, they paid the bill literally the next day, right, or,
Yeah, well, the
I
head
mean-
was gonna foreclose.
right? But see, you can't foreclose on something you can't foreclose on a 12-year-old Ford truck that no one knows where it is.
Right. Might be in the ocean at this point. All right, I'll work
Okay,
on
we
it.
beat that one to death. Quarterly review of revenues and expenses.
Did you have any questions? Anything stick out to you? Nothing stuck out to me, and honestly, I was gonna review this today. Phil's out. Hannah had a call from daycare. She had to go get her baby because it was snowing. And that period of an hour and a half while she was gone, today was just crazy. Between people calling about a wharf in their yard or steps are missing, or I mean, it was just crazy. So I didn't review these again. I haven't really looked at it since I printed them, but if you have any questions, I'd be happy to look at it and see if it triggers something in my brain.
Yeah, nothing jumped out at me other than the fact that it looks like we're going to end up adding to the surplus this year because we're making more money than we projected. At least it appears we are. Automobile excise state reimbursement, that's running pretty close to what they told us it was going to be, which
Yeah, I
really
was pleasantly
surprising.
surprised at that.
Yeah, I am too. Ambulance billing is a little sluggish,
Yep.
but not horrible. But yeah, I'll be honest with you, I have not looked this over in great deal. I did look it over a little. I have some little piddly questions that I think is something that I'd rather just do with Phil or Terry because they're gonna have to look it up. And why is it $40 here and that type of stuff.
Yep.
You with me?
Yep, anything,
Okay.
any,
Yeah, not tonight though. I mean, because you're gonna have to look it up. You're gonna say, I don't know why. But all in all, everything looks pretty good, I thought.
Yep, me too. I was pleasantly surprised with it. So next year's budget timeline. Do we want to?
last year we met with, I've lost my background notes. I'm kind of unorganized tonight.
Well, you said you would ask the request to be back by February 5th.
Yep,
And last year, we met with department heads February 15th and 16th.
right. I don't know what your schedules are.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
I assume you're thinking, I'm kind of jumping down to the next agenda item, subject matter, but I assume you're thinking of holding the town meeting very near the election date, since we're going to be electing. So does
That
does
made
that
sense to me.
does that impact the budget timeline if we do move that back?
Not really, because that's only a week.
Okay.
Well, yeah, no, that's only a week. I mean, we have to have the town report done sooner and all that, but I mean, we're really only talking a week difference.
Okay, I just a question.
So were you thinking about doing it on the election day? Doing it the same day?
No.
I thought you were talking about doing it the next day, weren't you? Like, which means
we've never done this before, so I'm open to suggestions.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with waiting a week. I mean, that puts
well,
us.
I don't either. I mean,
I'm
you
fine
actually
with that.
you actually open the town meeting at the polls, elect
Yep.
a moderator, and then at the town meeting, we don't even have to, at the meeting part of the town meeting, we don't have to elect a moderator. That's already been done.
Yep.
So I don't see why we can't wait a week either. I think people in this are very used to meeting on Tuesday.
Yeah,
And that
So-
gives us a little more time. So.
yeah, the next Tuesday would be the, what, 18th?
18th, so.
Yeah.
I mean, typically we do it on the 25th, which would be the following one, but the 8th, there's nothing wrong with the 18th, other than the fact that, what is that next day?
Yeah, Juneteenth, but I mean, that's a holiday.
Yeah,
That won't really affect anything, will it?
I don't think so.
I mean, if there's something that needs to be done, I can still do it. But there shouldn't be.
Well,
So eight-
I like that idea. I
Okay.
think, well, I'm getting my calendar up, but, so I'm sorry, I feel like I got us off track. It seems as though
Well,
dealing with-
no, because it's germane to it. I mean,
it is, and probably they should have been reversed.
Well.
I know, you're busy. Who
So I
just left?
send it to you to fix.
Who just left?
Sandy?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I mean, the 18th and the 11th, I think that's fine.
Okay, I think the 18th is good.
So this is a bifurcated town meeting. It starts on the 11th and then it adjourns to the 18th.
Is that because you're gonna elect the officers at the polls?
Yes.
And you elect a moderator for you in the morning before you open the polls.
oh, really?
Yeah,
Does it have
yeah,
to be
'cause
the same moderator, John?
it's the same moderator. It's one town meeting. It's what they call a bifurcated town meeting.
Okay,
Hmm.
that could be the biggest problem.
Yeah, getting them. Well, I don't even think the moderator has to be, well, you gotta swear them in.
Right. So they'd have to be there. And then they have to close the polls, but they can appoint a deputy to close.
They
the polls.
can. They don't have to stay there all day. They can appoint one of the election, Phil as the deputy or something.
Yeah.
Okay,
And I thought the moderator we had last year did a pretty good job.
yeah, I did too.
I can't
Considering
remember who it
that
was.
he had been pressed into service about 2 minutes before the meeting. It
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It was Jan.
was
Oh,
Jan.
that's right.
Yeah,
I just blocked it right out. Well, I will talk to Jan.
Tell him to read the manual ahead of time this time.
Okay.
so now back.
Now we gotta go back to the budget.
Right,
So you said we met February and
15th and the 16th last year.
Yeah.
This year, that would be Thursday and Friday.
I could do the 13th and 14th. These are not necessarily, so they're gonna have to be at night
Yeah,
At least later. I mean,
or at least late.
last year Sue was there. I think we started at 4.
Yeah. Well, that would work better for me. I can't do. What the hell is that? Oh, yeah, I can't do the next week. I'm really, Leslie's, we have family coming on both ends of that week.
Well, the 14th is the Conservation Commission. The
Yeah, but
15th,
they could,
15th is the Planning Board.
uh,
oh, damn.
And also to throw into this mix, Jeff, I'm not sure what your plan is for ordinance stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was in the wrong month. I thought,
Were you still in June?
no, I was in, for some reason I was in March.
Oh,
So I'm much more wide open than I just said. I could do, and we don't have to do them back to back either.
That's
no,
true.
no.
No,
14th is Valentine's Day. I don't know if that matters to anybody.
Well, the Conservation Commission meets then anyway,
On when?
the 14th.
Okay, so what about the 15th, the planning board?
Yep.
The 21st doesn't work for me. I could do the I could do the 13th. Oh, no, I could do the 12th and the 13th, but that doesn't give you much time.
Yeah, I'm good on the 12th and 13th.
You know, I can just, a lot of the, I mean, like, a lot of the budgets, I'm not waiting on someone else. I'm
Right.
waiting on, Hannah and I are gonna work on them. So we can do it. We can get there.
All
You give
right,
me you give me a deadline and it'll be done.
Walter, you got any thoughts on the, oh, you're not involved in this, I'm sorry. I was thinking they were budget committee.
I'm involved later.
Yeah.
That's why
Ne-
I'm.
Next step is his.
I
find
was
out-
thinking you were awful quiet about this. So, do we need to talk about budget committee meetings yet, or?
We could, if you want to get them.
Yeah,
Well, we got
Yeah.
Walter here and
Yeah. We
When
did
we
those
do
in
'em-
April last year when you got back, John.
Yeah,
yeah, I'd like to do them after I get back.
I'd like to not do them in March because I'm gonna be gone most of March.
Okay, so when are you back, John?
Well, probably like the 5th, 6th or something like that. I could do the following. What's like 9, 10, 11, like?
Well, the Conservation Commission will probably meet on that Wednesday, the 10th, but didn't last year they change it for us?
yeah.
Are there any people on that committee that are on the budget committee? Sandra,
Sandra,
the chair.
Is Catherine on it too? Catherine's on the budget committee.
He's not on the budget committee.
She's not. Okay.
We are short 2 members, so
I mean, we could go for the 9th, 10th, did you say 9th, 10th and 11th? And I could email Sandra and talk to her about it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
plenty of time in advance.
Yeah, and I think last time they ended up just moving their meeting a half an hour or something to.
Yeah, or they could meet at Guilford Butler, except for Sandra needs, and she could do her budget. I could make sure they're not scheduled on the 10th.
Yeah, but then Walter's committee's gonna be even shorter. Sandra's not there.
Oh, sorry, I forgot she's on the budget committee. Well, they might be able to live without her on the conservation.
Well,
committee.
maybe they could move their meeting to the 10th. The 10th is late.
is the 22nd through the 26th off the table, or can it be put back on?
It's not up there for me. I have, let me just see. Oh, I should be okay. On the 23rd, I have an endoscopy. I can't even say it. But it kind of knocked me out a little bit from because you do have anesthesia,
Yeah.
but it's early in the morning. I can handle it.
Yeah, I can do that week too.
You can't drive today, John.
No, I know. And they tell you not to sign any important documents, and then they say, sign this.
So the week of the 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th is out?
Yeah, it's out for me. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, okay, so
Yeah.
Well,
that's a
and
bad
so
week
it'd
for me.
be, so that way we wouldn't have to move the Conservation Commission to have Sandra.
well, they're the 10th.
Oh, but it's out for Walter anyways. Okay. I'm good with that. 22nd through the 25th.
Okay,
Okay.
Thank you.
it's gonna be really, really tight getting it all together for the
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
town report, but I think we can do it. I will figure the date. I'm quite sure we can, I think we'll be okay.
Well, remember though, you gotta have the town report out before the election day, not the,
Yep,
not the town meeting, not the meeting part of it day.
yep.
What
just
about,
gonna-
Walter, you gone that entire week?
I'm gone the 16th through the 19th.
Oh. Okay. Well, could we do? Oh, you're gone the 16th.
Yeah.
There's an extra
I mean, quite frankly, maybe we should do, if we met the 15th, we could do maybe David and Amy. Those are the tough ones.
Yep,
And then meet the 22nd, 23rd or something. And I don't know if that, I'm just throwing out ideas.
You know, or go back to the week of the 8th and boot the Conservation Commission. I mean,
Yeah,
or we could do the 8th and
and the fire
9th.
department.
If we did the 8th and the 9th and the 11th, and if
Well-
we needed the 15th, when are you back, John?
No, yeah, that's pushing it for me,
Okay,
but I should be back by then. I will be if we schedule a meeting on the 8th. So,
well, we could do the 11th.
well, I think the thing is just ask Sandra to move her Conservation Commission either up a week or out a week.
Okay,
I mean, they don't get a huge amount of public,
right,
if they get any.
okay,
Does that make sense?
yep.
so now we're at 8 through 11? Is that the plan?
Well,
Or 9,
I'll-
9 through
I'll be
11?
honest with you, I'd be more comfortable if we could do 9, 10, 11, and if we need 15.
Okay,
Okay.
that works.
You type that all up and say,
Yep, I'll try
'cause
that.
I don't even remember what we, and I should get these in my calendar before I start making plans.
Yep,
And, oh, so back to February, what did we decide in February?
Well, that was why I asked her to type it up.
all right, February, we decided the 12th and the 13th.
Okay. Good.
And excuse me, in April, we did. I looked up my calendar. 9, 10, 11, and 15.
9, 10, 11, and 15.
And 15. So, 9 would typically be a select board meeting night, right?
Typically,
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe we should keep that night somewhat lighter in case we have to meet after as a select board to deal with a couple things, but we can figure that out as we get closer.
yep, I'll try to come up with a agenda of people and send it to you and.
Yeah,
Do
because
you
you're
want-
gonna,
Do you want the fire department and ambulance together all on one night? Or do you want them
at
separate?
which meeting?
Whatever one you decide works best.
Well, I assume they're gonna want to be there together,
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, because,
and there's such interaction between them.
yeah,
Personally, I'd like them together on both nights, but both budget committee meetings and our February meetings, but that's
Yep.
just me personally.
it makes most sense, and I think that's the way we usually do it.
And I think
Yeah.
they're probably gonna want to do that too.
So if you want to keep, I lost my calendar.
Yeah,
If you wanted
Did-
to keep the 9th light, then I'll put them the 10th or 11th.
yeah, because David's new job, sometimes he works,
Yep.
he works like 24 hours straight, so.
I wonder if you'd know that far, to schedule that
Oh,
far.
I have a feeling they do.
Okay.
Yeah, I
I'll
think
send
we
it to
do.
David. All right, we'll get it all ironed out.
Okay, good.
Monthly reports, anything jump out at you?
Well, the only thing that jumps out of me is, Terry, did you have any luck at all getting that alley for
Yes, he said that he would be here this week, and I don't know if the
He-
storms caused a problem, and I'll check with him
Because, I
tomorrow.
mean, it shows up every month in the fire department report. It's getting worse out there.
Oh, he
David really,
promised me he'd be here this week.
okay.
But that being said, it's Tuesday. I don't know where he lives, if he has storm issues.
He lives in Warren. But he does a lot of work, you know, he does George Hall's work, he does the art schools, he does the couple of the shopping plazas, you know, so he could have had some issues.
And once again, I appreciate the CEO's, please pass to the CEO the well done department head report for that office.
Wait till you see this one.
Uh,
It's crazy.
Okay, personnel issue. I think let's skip to the donations first before we go into executive session.
I'll make a motion, we accept a donation of $2,500 from an anonymous donor to be to offset the costs associated with the land purchase.
Second that. Further discussion? All those in favor, John?
John, I
Jeff, I.
make a motion, we accept a donation from Cliff and Sherry Dasco for the new library in the amount of $1,000.
Second. Further discussion? All those in favor, John?
John, I
Jeff, I. 2-0.
I'll make a motion, we accept a donation from Anthony Kurfovich
Yeah.
in the amount of $100 to offset the cost of the recent land purchase.
Second. Further discussion? All those in favor, John?
I
Jeff, I.
make a motion, we accept a donation from Michael and Cynthia Lucas in the amount of $50, I guess, to the ambulance fund for use for food.
That's what they said.
I guess, are we talking food for the employees, or doesn't matter, $50.
Yes, I'll second that. Further discussion?
It's late.
It's probably for the pantry that's at the kitchen in there.
Yeah,
Pantry area.
okay.
All those in favor, John?
John, I
Jeff, I. Okay, correspondence.
Ralph sold his business. So we got,
Are we using them?
we have a little
We
bit.
have,
Okay.
Yeah,
but
he's
we're
done some
currently-
things. He's actually, he was gonna fix those drains in the front of the fire bay. I don't know if he's done that or not. And we've used them for some things. Not much.
And a thank you from Grace Van Buskirk.
Ben
for the
Buster.
Scholarship. Yeah, and I guess that's the only person we ended up giving to this year.
No, that's the only person that said thank you.
Oh, for some reason I thought it ended up all going to one person.
No, it was her sister, and the Mackey girl.
And items for the next agenda.
I'd like to put on a discussion about what, if any, land we want to, of the original town lot, we want to include in this so-called preserve. I don't know where that name came from, but it seems to be out there all of a sudden. If that's agreeable. I mean, if we are gonna do that, I think the Conservation Commission is recommending that we have done that. Although it seems a little bit unclear to me exactly. I don't think they've made a formal recommendation to the board, but that's something that needs to go on the town meeting warrant. And
Yep, that's gonna be our next month, is to start thinking about the warrant and
Yeah.
all that fun stuff.
But I think we need to start thinking about, talking about that a little.
And right now, we've only got one meeting scheduled.
Oh, really?
For the
For
6th,
February 6th, yeah.
February 6th. And then the budget on the 13th with department heads.
Yeah, I got the 6th. I can't do the 20th. I could do the 27th,
I think I
Oh,
can
the-
do 27th as well.
or I could do the, no, I really shouldn't do the 21st either.
Well, I mean, we're gonna meet on the 6th, and we'll be together on the 13th.
Yeah, when are we meeting? The 13th and 12th and 13th?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we could, if we have to, we could squeeze something in there. And
Yep.
so you want to just try to get away with one?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're gonna need at least 2 in March.
You want to set those now?
Yeah, I think so. The 12th and the 26th would work ideally for me.
No, I'm gonna be on the road. We check out the 24th. I'm gonna be on the road on the 26th.
Okay.
I can do the 12th.
We'll do the 12th and the 19th. I think coming into the budget and
Yeah, that's
may
not gonna
need-
work either. That's that week that I was in the wrong week. I got family coming at the end of, beginning and end of the week.
Okay.
So, the 12th is,
Second Tuesday.
maybe, I don't know. I guess I can't. Yeah, neither one of those are gonna work for me. I could do the
You
the
say-
18th.
You can't do the 12th?
I can do the 12th, and
Okay.
I could do the 18th if you feel we need a separate one.
Yeah, let's do that as a backup. I mean, if we don't need to, we don't need to.
Yeah, okay.
I just think getting ready for town meeting,
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Jeff, is Tuesday nights good for you still?
yeah, it is.
Okay, all right.
And just so you know, I'm no longer doing chemo. I'm now doing immunotherapy. I still go to the same place and they still stick something in my arm and they still make it drain into my body, but it's
Yeah.
not as nasty a chemical as
Yeah.
as the other was. So
You do know we're recording.
yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yep.
It doesn't bother me.
Okay,
So I'm can't say I'm 100%, but I'm much better than I was the last month and a half. So
yeah, you're much better than the last meeting.
yeah.
Yeah. Good. Glad to hear that.
Okay. Anything else we need to do before we go into executive session?
You mentioned something a while back, Terry, and it brought to mind what my adjustment was, and now it's gone out of my mind again, so. I should have wrote it down. Okay, maybe I'll think of it.
So I'll entertain a motion to go
yeah,
into executive
I'm
session.
looking for the. I move we enter executive session pursuant to. Title I MRSA 4056C to discuss a personnel matter.
Second. Further discussion? All those in favor, John?
Aye.
Jeff, aye.
All right.
Soon-
Is it,
So we
I'll
are
ask- sorry, I was gonna ask the question again. Is it safe to assume we will not be taking any action at the end of this meeting?
Yes.
Yes, so for the public that's joining us on the recording, we're going to into executive session, and when we come out of it, we're not going to be coming back online. So this will end the recorded portion of the session.